Star Trek: The Next Generation was a show.
Star Trek: The Next Generation
everybody I
was
interacted
a
with
show that I started watching when I was a really little kid. Can you believe it's been 30 years? Star Trek: The Next Generation first.
Star Trek: The Next Generation was my life as a kid. It was the escape from reality. Welcome to Next Generation's First Generation, where Patrick Delmore and Sascha Schaudies take a look back into their favorite childhood show, Star Trek: The Next Generation. This is where we attempt to reconcile how we felt as children watching the show and looking back as old farts now in our late 30s, almost 40s.
So, back with Season 3 of Next Generation's First Generation, covering the third season of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Today we are looking at Episode 9, The Vengeance Factor. Riker falls in love, but is it true?
Dun, dun.
And back again, to my right, we have David.
Hi.
Next to David, we got Matt.
Hello.
And let's get into it. Oh,
And
Sasha's
I'm
here.
here.
Oh, hi, Sascha.
I just walked in.
Hey, buddy.
I didn't know you were recording.
How you doing, friend?
Doing all right. I'm really looking forward to this episode, but I'll tell you one thing, Pat. I remember when this came out, and it just died. It came to like a screeching halt, this episode, and I remember watching it again as an adult, and I absolutely loved it. I think it was just that there's a lot of politics in this one. So I think that's what was that was my vengeance factor. I refused to watch this episode for so long, and then I finally watched it again. I was like, oh, it's not so bad.
Is there politics like ticks that sleep with more than one tick?
Oh, ha ha. But
yeah. Anyway,
so what we're gonna do? Queue up your favorite DVD, Hulu, Netflix, CBS All Access Pass, wax cylinder, and video disc. We're gonna give you the countdown on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
listen to those gears grind on the old DVD player.
This looks very Borgish right here.
Huh. It's green.
It's green.
Hey, check it out. Everything tastes like lime here.
Jello. So we have a smashed up station.
Yeah.
Cue the beam in. We got the spooky music.
Worf and Geordi are visiting the planet Sprite.
Make 7 up yours. Look at that. In the subtitles are yellow. That's perfect.
Not here.
No, Geordi is not here. Looks like I have a couple of ancient baby seats there.
I like how Worf just tosses shit around without even looking where it's. I'm just gonna start throwing things.
It's out of the frame. Nobody's gonna see it.
The reactor's gone. There was no way for us to know that from orbit.
Yeah.
Wait, are they? Sorry, now I forget. Are they on a planet or in a space?
Mm-hmm.
They're on a planet. Okay.
They look like in some kind of cave area. Okay. They're doing a survey of this room, which is trashed.
I was wondering why they weren't wearing spacesuits, but whatever.
Yeah.
The doctor of all people's like, a tricorder is good enough. No gloves when I pick up this piece of jagged metal with blood on it.
Worf is trying to pry the door.
Yeah, it's a push door, Worf.
Here comes Data. Magic Muscle Man. Zim zim zalabim.
And it shows that because if anybody else had done that, Worf would be like really pissed that there's someone stronger. But he's just come to accept that Data. It's.
I like it. Looks like the aliens got in like a fight over the coffee cart in the morning.
It's a little bit of a weird it's a little bit of a weird cliffhanger. Like we just dead people. It's kind of what we assumed they were. We just kind of assumed they were there already. So.
And if I recall correctly, there's a better cliffhanger a little ways into it. It was probably just too long to have the tease happen there.
So it is now November 20th, 1989. Where were you, Patrick?
I was in the first grade. This was the Thanksgiving that I met Chris Cornell.
No.
Yeah, my aunt was married to his dad for a minute. So
he went to my high school.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's no longer with us, sadly. Rest in peace, Chris.
Yeah.
So November 20th, I was still in Columbus, Ohio, getting ready for the drive out to St. Clairsville to visit my grandma for Thanksgiving week. So this was like I said earlier in the intro, this was very much a a political episode. I kind of compared it to the McCoys and the, what was it, the Shetfields? Not the Shetfields. Hatfields and McCoys. So you have these two clans. And that just caught no interest of mine when I was a kid. But I had a lot of fun with this episode when it came out. Because it was kind of like a whodunit kind of episode.
Yeah.
So this music on this episode was done by Dennis McCarthy. It was written by Sam Rolfe and directed by Timothy Bond.
What do you think about it, maybe?
Well, this is actually a reverse whodunit, because we know who did it, we're just trying to see how they're caught.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
yeah, they showed who did it very early in the episode.
That's what it's like Columbo. We know who did it, we're just seeing how they're caught. I was 2 years old when
So the writer for this episode, Sam, also wrote a lot of episodes for the show The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Huh.
I don't know if you ever knew
that. Makes sense.
He what?
The Man from U.N.C.L.E. It was kind of like a spy-based show.
It was like a Mission Impossible style show, but it was a spy team made up of English spies, American, and Soviet spies.
In fact, one of that show's episodes was called The Vulcan Affair. That would have been a neat crossover.
Vulcan is the Roman name for Hephaestus, who is the god of the forge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
There is a gigantic statue of Vulcan in, I want to say, Arkansas.
Vulcan was also a code name for one of our weapon systems during the Cold War.
So they're setting up how there's this band of marauders that call themselves the Gatherers. And now they are going to talk to the Sovereign here. And she looks very much like Kai Wynn. You think that's a test model right there, or maybe some?
Probably not. I doubt that they were thinking about her other than, this is the sort of, negotiator that they wanted. I mean, Kai Wynn, as Matt said, we were talking a little bit before the show, is much, much more devious than this woman. This woman is just sort of ill-suited to the task that the Enterprise has put in front of her.
Yeah, she legitimately wants peace, I think. But yeah, like Pat said, she's just not the person you should be doing this.
Her attitude towards the duel is, just do it, will you? One of you please die.
Yeah, it's the whole traditional, I'm the sovereign. Why aren't you listening to me?
Yeah, she would have totally let Krypton explode. And I'm like, very well, Jor-El. We can't have any more of this. You're upsetting the babies.
So, a sovereign is royalty.
It sounds like she was an elected official, though.
They're just using it as a title because it sounds regal. But a sovereign is what a king or a queen is. It's divine royalty.
So the species called Akamarian, which is a general peaceful race with a history of violent clan warfare. Dun, dun, dun.
Pretty much every species in the galaxy.
When I read the word Akamarian, all I can think of is the only word the aliens from Mars Attacks ever say. Amarian.
Yeah. Do not run. We do not mean you harm.
How soon will you be ready to leave Akamar?
I'm ready now, Captain. I need only bring aboard 2 more servants.
I'll see to that.
Oh, 2 servants.
It's like, really? You're on the most advanced starship that's like light years above what your race has, and you need servants to do what?
Organic pooping. I know I don't want the computer to do it. I've got a guy for that.
The Federation has charted but not explored several Class M planets in that area. Any one of these planets might...
So they're saying that this has been charted but not explored. So the pirates could be hiding anywhere. This is kind of like Queen Elizabeth sailing down to the West Indies looking for pirates.
I guess. I mean, she would have gotten to go with her, her good buddy Sir Francis Drake. But,
this is more like the United States calling on the Queen and saying we're having problems with pirates in the in the Caribbean kind of thing.
Let's go find
we need you to deal with it, and they send a member of the royal family to represent.
So this is Lisa Wilcox here talking to Riker.
food dispensers.
Teaching her name's Uta, I believe.
Utah.
To how to use the technology, but since her job is to protect the sovereign, she has to taste test everything.
5 degrees of what?
Poison.
Oh, they've fully converted the metric system by this time.
Yeah.
I must taste. Now, Riker shouldn't be surprised by this. With all the diplomatic functions that he does, he shouldn't be surprised by this level of...
Yeah, and not at all. They shouldn't be. He should just assume that,
That people do this stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And no, I'm wondering if she has like a poison sampler kit when she goes into Royal Taste Testing School. Like, do you need to nibble on a little bit of all the poisons just to know what you're looking for?
Well, that's the thing is you'd expect in the future that she would scan it or do something, not do the old-fashioned, I'm going to sip it, and if I'm not dead in 30 seconds, then it's okay for the sovereign to drink it.
Can you build up a tolerance for that?
Or she has, maybe she knows Wesley from that Princess Bride, where he takes a little bit of the poison every day. Most likely, though, a good technological excuse would be is that she has certain sensors built into her tongue that she can taste it and then...
But they're not that technologically advanced, remember? That's why they're using the Enterprise to ferry them around.
Okay. She was, anyway, Lisa Wilcox was on Nightmare of Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. 1988.
The year before this?
Yeah, and then she was also 1989 on Nightmare on Elm Street 5.
Which is The Dream Child, I believe?
I believe, yes, you are correct. Yeah. Oh, she has a nice little heart in her signature. Look at that.
Yeah.
So I love
it. A lot of fan conventions.
This is what I'm talking about right there, that scene where Picard's just sitting there going, yep.
What are you going to do?
And then Deanna's also like, got nothing to do except sit here while everybody else is running around solving the mystery. Yeah. Well, Picard's just sitting there going,
Well, he's got the console right there. He could bring up some Pong on the view screen.
He's probably and this is the thing is, we only see the mission that they're on that they want us to see. There are probably several other missions going on simultaneous to
that the captain is involved in and not staffed out to people. That's the thing. I'm sure everybody else is like, Riker's probably got like 50 things he's doing. Data, 100 projects and stuff like that, all of them. But Picard, what is it that at the level where the captain, who specializes in archaeology, doing at that moment? I keep thinking of King of the Hill, where you see just Hank Hill standing in front of his head, just going, "Yep." And then Deanna's like, "Uh huh." That's right.
I don't believe we'll ever truly be at a time where you can be as complacent as these people are on a starship. There would constantly be people that would just be hanging around to make sure, like, human error didn't destroy everyone. On a ship that big, there would be safety officers in every, just standing around, like, don't do that!
Right. Sasha and I just watched Crimson Tide the other night.
Oh my
Which
goodness.
which is a pretty accurate naval movie. And you looked at it, and that was a combat mission, so they were constantly in combat, but even then, the captain wasn't doing much other than he wasn't the one fixing the holes and firing the torpedoes.
Speaking of which, they just said what they're being shot at is not particularly powerful, and Riker just says, well, they're powerful enough.
Yeah, and let's hide behind these barrels that we did not check with a tricorder, and hopefully there's nothing going to explode inside them.
Yeah.
So their first mistake is they just beamed down to this cavern, obviously not their cavern. They should have known that people are down there. They don't announce who they are, and they start just going through the stuff. Of course the pirates are going to start shooting at them. If anything, right now, our heroes are the bad guys.
They're trespassing,
they're breaking and entering. They don't announce their intentions.
Especially when you're used to dealing with, in this species, is used to people just coming and kicking the door and taking shit.
Right? Oh, coordinated explosions. Oh, what?
So you knew that was explosive or let off a gas, but, did you know what the barrel you were hiding behind?
Yeah.
The propane tank you're using as a shield?
Whoa. Why did they need a smoke screen to beam out?
To reposition themselves.
Wait, I thought they didn't.
No, they just moved around. They used it as a smoke bomb.
They shot fire cover. They started a fire, and then they said, "Beam us up." And in the time that it took the pirates to walk down to where they are, they could have just beamed out anyway.
They didn't.
Oh, look at that! Oh, that's pretty good. Sneaky.
My question is they shot a metal thing and turned it into a metal vapor. Wouldn't that be incredibly toxic?
Yes.
I mean,
not at all.
It's not like they boiled water. They shot metal, turned it into a metal vapor.
It's that rare alloy of aeronium.
And they're just all standing around in it like it's steam.
Yeah, look how she's standing. I mean,
she probably beamed down her own crate just to do that.
No, she's probably I'm just assuming someone's painting my portrait while I'm doing this. Why?
No, she's got one of her servants on all fours underneath the robe there. So I'm really surprised that they brought the Sovereign down to meet these pirates in person. But I think one of these pirates is a leader, isn't he?
Yes.
He's a sub-leader. He's like a faction leader, not the overall leader.
But the relationship between the Sovereign and the pirates is like estranged family members, not really blood enemies.
It's like her whole, they just tell her to go home, old woman, and she just immediately goes to, "You haven't changed in 100 years." Actually showing up was so much of an effort. Like, I'm not even going to try if you don't make...
Right.
They don't care about how they live.
There's a good shot back there of just everybody all in one space. It would look cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just hate the costumes in this.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. And the makeup for the thug people.
I mean, literally, it's like they went through the rejects from Road Warrior. It's like whatever was left over in the dumpster out back. And that's what they made these guys out of.
So maybe it was a new novel way of costume design. They bring the actors to the lot maybe 2 or 3 days before, and they say, "Okay, costume scavenger hunt. Just go through all the dumpsters on the lot and make up your own thing."
Essentially, that's what it is. It's like literally like, here's a hot glue gun and a sack of trash and packing material.
She really does kind of hold a candle to Kai Wynn there. That
Kai Wynn, she's doing this for all. Kai Wynn would be like, I'm going to get someone else to negotiate and then take the credit.
Okay.
Kai Wynn was never very good at doing actual diplomatic work. She was good at taking credit and making people think she did things.
Well, that's why we have Picard there, because Picard's
but then she'd be letting Picard do all the talking. And then you'd see her making speeches or dispatches back home saying, "Boy, I really had to negotiate with these people."
This might be too political, but basically what... Well, no, I don't want to use this example, because, I mean, obviously there was a war that had, bad people on both sides.
This guy looks like he stole his out from a Borg set.
But it's the idea that, if a culture separates, like, completely, and the other side's doing, one side is doing super poorly and the other side's doing really well. And the side that's doing really well is like, "Hey, come back." It's like, we had a lot of grievances when we left. Can we discuss fixing those grievances? Absolutely not. You're coming back on our terms.
You could almost say it's like England trying to repatriate Australia. After Australia, in the early years when Australia was still basically been a penal colony.
Yeah, I get that.
It's England's like, "Well, we want you to come back," and then you're only like 2 or 3 generations removed from them being criminals who were exiled there.
So Yuta touches this guy after addressing his clan affiliation, and he dies.
That my clan will outlive yours.
Yuta Guta Solo?
Oh. Yeah, he totally stole that from the Borg episode.
Well, he's wearing football shoulder pads that have been,
Marut's offer has value.
So tell me about the dealies on your shoulder pad. Well, they're just dealies. They're plastic. They come off if you tear on them. Really made this in kindergarten.
How funny would it be if we saw an appearance of Okana in this?
I'm glad he never came back.
Yeah,
No?
that was a horrible character.
I don't know. He could have been a Riker.
No.
He was just about to go into filming The Rocketeer at this point, anyway.
We'll gladly take you with us on the Enterprise. How many of your men do you want to accompany you?
So they all want to go on the Enterprise. Where are they going to?
No, it's just for the negotiations. He's just going by himself.
Oh, okay.
You'll be in charge while I'm done. If I'm not back...
So this woman who plays the Sovereign, her name is Nancy Parsons. Well, passed away in 2001.
And great work, Worf. Great work, Troy.
Doing absolutely nothing.
You really fixed it from having, one of the people that was one of the very few people that was on your ship going down there and murdering someone. Like Troy, we talked in the last episode about Troy supposedly can't read Ferengi emotions. She sure can't tell somebody's about to murder somebody who's standing right next to her.
Or specifically, had just murdered somebody.
Right.
That's, especially someone who apparently she is hated with, a blood feud with.
Right.
Why did she go down and...
I like how Dr. Crusher was already holding a med kit and they just had to say, Dr. Crusher, come here. And she's literally packed bag ready to go.
Why didn't they...
Well, it's not a social call.
Why didn't they beam him up?
Good question.
Cardiac arrest?
So he's going to have to suspend his presidential campaign then.
No, he died of a heart attack.
Oh, good Bernie Sanders joke there. Oh, so the art of time travel. This is only October when we recorded this, and Bernie's just been left out of the hospital. So he died of a heart attack, this person, and they beamed him back up. Getting a tour of the bridge. Or Okana-ish. Why would he do that? He's a dignitary.
Man, this is even
better.
than...
Worf just says, you go over there.
This ship is even better than that Motley Crue show I went to.
Oh, this guy's name is Stephen Lee. Oh, he died in 2014.
It'd be funny if it's like if Crusher calls Picard and is like, you didn't let him on the bridge while my son was there, did you?
Oh, jeez.
He's going to want to start dressing like that. It's emulatable behavior, Captain. I'm really not okay with it.
So I find it ironic that the character who plays this guy, or the actor who plays this guy, his real name's Stephen Lee, died of a heart attack.
Aw.
And this episode's about preventing him from dying of a heart attack.
That is true.
Wah, wah.
Jeepers, mister. Gosh, I wish Okana was here.
He was standing right where you were at. His leather jacket smelled of musk.
Geordi, what's patchouli?
For centuries, my planet was in chaos.
So that guy who was killed, his name was Mark Lawrence? I don't know if that rings a bell.
Demanded violent retaliation.
And these blood feuds could last.
Oh, now they're talking about the blood feuds. So the idea was that you had clan-based politics where each group was in charge of another, and then they would flip and flop. One group murdering the other group for vying for control. So
Picard does not like stuff like this. He likes it. He basically will go like, in general, there was some like infighting amongst people, and then they advanced to a spectacular degree.
Yeah, well, he does not like uncivilized things.
Right.
And this guy's very uncivilized. How do you know that wasn't a cup of bar oil he was just drinking?
Yeah.
And then they just... Oh. And
isn't that the cup Counselor Troy uses to spit her chocolate out in?
Hey, kid. You like these boots?
Look how hard he's trying to make look relaxed. Like, you can tell his foot is like just on the constant verge of falling off that, and he's really got to strain to keep it up there.
You any good at it?
I'm good at a lot of stuff, guy.
You don't like me.
There are other things girls like about me.
Yeah.
No problem. I have many friends that don't like
This guy does not act like a leader.
No.
You're a thief. I steal to survive,
Not because I enjoy it.
I love that, he's screaming at this ensign and nobody, who's a kid and nobody in 10-4 were just looking at him.
Well, I'm sure Riker for a moment looked at it. No, it's Wesley. We're fine. Back to our drinks.
Or another way to look at it is, well, Wesley needs to know how to survive on his own in this rough galaxy, so we're going to invite this miscreant to come and scream at him for a little bit.
One's just about your age. He's not any good at math.
Oh, he has a son. Wesley's age.
They really need is the holographic Ethan Phillips at the front door telling the guy he doesn't meet the dress code.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Here comes Uta with the...
Portos a la Utah.
With the help of one of your food stations.
So she cooked this meal for Riker and Deanna. Looks like broccoli and beef.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You truly belong with us here among the stars. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun,
I don't know how you got Cloud City out of all this.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I was thinking Spaceballs.
No, I don't know where or how you got Star Wars before that. But
Because you like the food she cooked in.
So here's
but
here's Riker. Here's Riker kind of flirting with Utah, which is funny because in the previous episode it was Deanna flirting with the negotiator. So turnabout's fair play.
just going to say the two people that the two of them, anybody who steps foot on this ship is apparently fair game.
Pretty much.
It says that right on the transporter pad.
Bring protection. So Riker's kind of probing her, like, why would you want to be a servant? Why don't you want to be treated as equal? Like, he's very much pushing his values on her.
He does that several times with people. They all do that.
They're judgy. You're not like us, so there must be something wrong with you.
We can make you better.
It's like,
And I can have sex in the process.
We appreciate that our women are beautiful, but we also appreciate their independence.
I'm not your slave. I can leave whenever I wish.
Then why don't you leave?
Just the opposite.
Just opposite. She wants to stay.
My path is
Yeah. If I leave, then I can't continue killing people.
Exactly. Her position gives her the perfect privilege and accessibility to all her enemies.
I've never been very good at conversation.
That's an understatement. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, he doesn't need conversation.
Time for you to give her some pat-pats. Come here, let me just dapple your little head.
Enjoy the purpose.
I don't understand Will's attraction to perceived socially isolated servants.
He's a predator.
Yes,
He's essentially a sexual predator.
yeah.
Because he looks for the most vulnerable.
Yeah, so that she
accessible
can't go
Yeah.
to her friend and be like, "Hey, what do you think about this Riker? Look how he's approaching the doctor on the ship. He's got his head down and his like he looks like." How did you get into my house? It's like the body.
Yeah, he's like the vice president in one of those. If this were Law and Order, he would be the creepy vice president. That's always hitting on the secretaries who end up dying. It's just.
That's kind of sad. Alright, so here we go into technical babble and really bad computer-generated images.
So what's a microvirus? Is that like a really small virus?
I would imagine so. She says she can't be sure, but my guess is this virus would only kill one mannequin. Oh wait,
That's why it's
a Camarian.
Yeah, that's why it's a microvirus. Is it's not a virus for everybody. It's only a virus for some people.
He's a heart attack Camarian.
Oh, you should have known by now. Thank you for that, David.
Sure.
What? Who did that?
Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Billy Joel. Alright, so he is in his quarters.
Comfy
relaxing.
triangular chair.
Brains agreed to your request for access to their databases. They are now being transmitted into our computer over such a
Yeah.
Good. Notify Dr.
Sometimes the furniture and the clothing on this show has kind of a European Art Deco thing going.
Oh, he's gonna get a visit.
Yeah, good.
It's like the old,
I wasn't expecting you. I haven't checked my traps yet.
the furniture makes me think of there's a pre-Peanuts Charles Schultz cartoon where it's a bunch of kids in a room with a bunch of modern furniture and the one kid saying to the other, what in the world is a rocking chair?
She suggested I might spend some time with you.
So, is this a race of extremely long-lived people?
No, they explain why she's still alive. She's been genetically engineered to continue.
Because I remember when the Sovereign was talking to the head junkie, you haven't changed in hundreds of years. Or
Well, I
something
mean,
like
what's
that.
considered
He's
long
talking about
humans
the people,
only
not,
live a certain time.
not,
I mean,
not the individual, his
Yeah.
people.
I know, and Riker has absolutely no problem with the fact that she was ordered to come there and pleasure him.
The side of her
He
head.
does in a minute.
The side of her head looks like she got a bruise from sleeping on a zipper. Look at that.
Tell me what you want with me. I will do anything you wish.
I want you to want me.
Yeah.
Don't you want me to give you pleasure?
So Will has no entertainment in people who surrender themselves to him. He wants that chase.
Yeah.
No, he liked that woman from the Irish planet. She surrendered herself to him.
Only after a bunch of hell, she was screaming at him about every little thing.
Yeah, and then she finally decided, well,
I gotta wash my feet.
I'm not.
So
Baby,
think that,
sweetie, listen.
Pleasure.
So Riker's got to knock him down in order to lay him down. He can't take it when they approach him willingly. Is that what we're saying?
he's like, you know, baby, you gotta say no a few more times before this really gets me going.
Why? But I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna kick his ass so hard, and then I'm gonna call your dad and tell him I did it.
Wow.
I'm gonna buy him a nice seafood dinner and then not call the next day.
Yeah.
So she tries to leave, and then he pulls her into a hug.
Yeah.
She's liking it though. Oh,
What kind of cigars does your father like, baby?
red alert is the ultimate
I got
cock
a
block.
deal, a line on some Swisher Sweets.
Yeah. She's like, I like to smoke. Yeah, you're gonna need to stop doing that. Anyway, is your dad a Cadillac or a Ford man?
Oh, we've seen this spaceship before.
It's the generic
It'd be great
bad
if
guy
the-
triangle
It's
ship.
Great
It's
if the
the-
side of the ship was painted like a van, like...
Yes.
That spaceship is like the Ford Taurus of the galaxy there.
So if you think about it, there's got to be independent shipbuilders, just like a Ford Taurus. I mean,
yeah.
there's, you know, like other nations use the same vehicles we have for things. You know, how many warlords use Toyota Tacomas as, you know, with a mounted machine gun? I mean, it's not...
Exactly. Of the USS Enterprise. I love how everyone falls to the right, but Picard leans to the left in that shot. I don't know if you caught
It's called
that.
turning into the skid. It's something you learn when you become captain of the starship.
Space physics is different when you're standing in the command position. So they're with this mystery third-party ship, and they're just kind of taking shots at each other. This is another faction of miscreants. Is that the idea? Yep. Look at those uniforms. No, it's okay, Chorgan. We'll just let you jump in our dumpster, and you can find a new outfit.
Yeah.
It's weird how these guys have these weird gashes on their cheeks. You notice that?
Yeah.
But the Sovereign doesn't have one.
Where
Yeah, she does, because, they've got they just do their marks a little bit differently.
And Yuta has that blue jazz on her ear, but I don't see anybody else with that.
Maruk's got stuff on her face.
Does she?
Yeah.
Nobody's unlikely to do anything rash when the Enterprise's face is trained on a ship. There are still risks.
Jordan the Porter.
Yeah, you're just assuming he's not an idiot, so...
Yeah.
I think this is the most action that Picard's gotten all month. Is like, please let me beam off.
Right,
the
he's
ship.
like, it was like, number one, all I do is sit here next to Deanna all day. I'm getting up and stretching my legs. And then in reality, that's what it is. Like,
Her farts are turning into mince.
your chair has a Pong monitor right there.
Yeah,
I don't even have that.
In fact, I'm going to just put on a spacesuit and run laps around the outside of the nacelle until we go moving again.
You know,
Look at me!
All I have on my chair is words with friends. You guys at least have a monitor.
I think you will find Maruk's proposal.
See, they start negotiating and the other two people haven't even sat down yet. That's terrible.
Don't worry. I've no intention of doing so. I know what trouble it's been for you to get here.
The acting is just great with these
Do you
guys.
have any more movies with that old Earth actor, Dave Thomas? He's really funny.
Amnesty.
You mean slavery? Shorgan, if you want to know what
So these guys are afraid that they might lose their freedoms if they come
Yeah.
back. Why do they need to reunite anyway? Just so they stop stealing crap?
Yeah, basically, they're the same people, but the Ravagers have been going around raiding Federation stations and shooting their people. So Picard basically comes up and says, "Hey, what the hell?" And
Rein it in.
And the Sovereign's like, "Well, they're a faction." Says, "No, they're your people. Deal with this shit, or we will deal with you."
It's very much like what they did with the Mandalorians later on in the Star Wars animated series.
Okay.
I spent a century hunting us down.
She is trying to put an end.
Yes, and luring us back and putting us in prison.
No, by accepting you back as free men.
That's surprisingly progressive, though.
It's sort of accepting them back as free men, but they have to conform to their laws. They're not going to make... Her initial thing is, I will make no exceptions for you at all. Also, she's not giving them any land or autonomy, which is the first thing they ask for, which is what you would do if you were bringing people back in.
Exactly.
Right. And then she gives them land, and they're like,
You know, this episode would actually be a really good follow-up to the Super Soldier episode. Remember where they had the Super
The high
Soldier?
ground that comes in that.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same thing.
Yeah, but the high ground happens. You have the super soldiers. They are left to work it out with Parliament.
Yeah,
and you fast forward a couple of years, and then you find they've exiled themselves, and they're being these mercenaries, and the Enterprise has to go back and fix the situation that they left behind.
I don't think they would exile. I think they toppled the government.
So we'll get to that episode in a couple weeks.
Commander.
Oh, data speed reading. I love that.
The Akamarian database is a birth record. Probably one of the last of the gatherers to be born there.
So they're going through genealogy.com's website for the Akamarians. And they're looking for murder victims in the genealogy database.
Data? And in the file of Petar Mole? Yes, sir. He was a member of the Lornet clan. He was captured.
Now, this was before hypertext links.
Yeah.
So if you ask Data, hey, could you look up something on this obscure person we've never known of? He'd be like, yeah, sure, not a problem. And he just brings it up, which seems like magic. Today, we're just like, Google his name, please.
Yeah.
It's no longer a technological wonder.
The only two recorded deaths by this microvirus, both in the same clan. What does that tell us, Doctor?
That tells us there's some sloppy writing in the plot there. 2 people from the same family fell on a bullet. There must be a correlation.
Is also from the Lornak clan. I want to know how this clan was involved with the Akamarian blood feuds. I'd like to know any clue as to...
So they're trying to figure out what are the relationships.
And furthermore...
And it's perfectly safe to the carrier as long as he doesn't have the same DNA patterns.
Tailor-made for their enemies.
So if Utah
80 years ago,
carried this virus to kill people,
a rival clan,
and she ended up having a child.
That child would have to carry on the legacy if she hadn't killed everybody yet.
Okay.
But she only has one more person to kill.
But she claims herself as the last of the line, right?
Yes.
So really a peaceful way to carry this on is that she ends up being pregnant, and that child could be the next episode of people killing each other.
But that's not what she wants. She wants to completely, basically genocide this other group.
You're a missing link. That is Panther Mall.
There's a photograph.
I don't see the picture. Behind him and to the left, sir.
Back and to the left.
Alright. You are very comfortable with altering images there, Mr. Riker. I'm sure that's his side hobby, is making deep fake porn.
That's Barkley's side hobby. Is
Right. Barkley, I forgot about that guy. Have we seen him yet? No, we have not. He's in the season, though.
Yeah. I want to say Hollow Pursuits is the first episode with him.
Which is funny because I absolutely love Barkley. He is probably
Dwight
one
Schultz,
of my favorite.
yeah. Turns out he's a right-wing crank, but...
No! Yeah. He's perfect Mr. Anxiety in the workplace.
Yep. Well, you know what show he was on before this, which I had no idea about. He was from the A-Team.
You didn't know that? He was Mad Murdoch?
No, because I never watched the A-Team.
Yeah.
You never watched the A-Team?
No.
Oh.
I knew who Mr. T was, and I knew Mr. T was on the A-Team, and that was all I knew about the A-Team.
That's the only thing anyone ever remembers the A-Team.
George
is the
Papard?
van and
Yeah, but I didn't
Mr.
know
T.
who George Papard was. I knew the first George Papard thing I knew about was, what is it, the 7-Year Itch.
If the situation were reversed, I'm sure you would be the
Oh, thank you, Picard. This is probably one of the smartest things he's ever said. So the two are arguing, and Picard just says, if you were in their situation, what would you ask for? And then does it sound so unreasonable? Have you ever known Picard to just ask an empathetic question?
No.
No. It's not like him at all.
Perhaps so.
Like, how would you feel?
Perhaps I could replicate you in a leave.
Yeah. High bone density stepped on your foot.
Maybe a little touch of that brandy.
Utah.
You know, thank you. It is remarkable how very much alike the two of you actually are.
That's ridiculous.
No, I'm quite serious.
Well, you're both jerks. You
Yeah.
both found your costumes in a dumpster, and you both hate each
It
other.
was like, that's on his record forever as being like the most offensive thing he ever said, was comparing the two groups.
So, here's what I don't get. Riker comes down and starts shooting people.
Choke, and I assure you, my first officer has a very good reason for his actions.
Yeah, shooting that guy in the background.
Utah.
Move away from the door.
Because of a man you once knew named Penthar Mall. Penthar Mall?
How do you know Penthar Mall? Tell him, Utah.
We were in the bowling league together.
We were called the Penthar Panthers. It was a great time.
We were doing great until he bowled that perfect game, and it's never been right since.
Wouldn't be quiet about it.
Keep perfectly still. Your life is in danger. Step back, Utah.
Keep perfectly still, not run for cover.
Yeah.
It is now. You're about to commit a murder.
It isn't murder.
It's whiskey.
See, she could have gotten away with it if she had not just had an outburst, right?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Yeah, sure, I'll comply. I'll back off.
Yeah.
That's
Like how
all.
every modern Law and Order ends. It's like, we have nothing on you unless you confess. Fine, I did it.
And the search began.
And why? Because I'm crazy.
I was the one chosen.
It's all about crime and passion. There's a lot of crime and passion in this television show.
Oh, yes.
Seems like every time there's an atrocity is because someone has hurt feelings.
You used me in order to get to the last few you couldn't reach.
Shut up, I'm old enough to be your great-grandmother. And then Riker just leaned in on that phaser. Oh, God, she's old. She's old! No! It's like, Deanna, I know I said we'd have tea, but I have to take like a 3-hour shower tonight.
So here's where Riker gets to do his bang gutter.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's not the right kind. Man, I really don't want to shoot you. We just did kind of have sex earlier. But it's gonna happen.
I'm sorry.
Stop.
Oh. At least he got
My
it on stun the
ovaries.
first time.
I know. It's like, why did you instinctively hit me there?
Oh, that's what I normally do if we forgot to use protection. That just sanitizes everything in the area. Oh, I've got this set to vaporize Utah. Instead of vaporizing her, you could have just knocked her out, stunned her.
He used it on stun twice.
Oh, and she didn't die?
That's what those two phaser shots were. What did you think he did?
I thought it was like
Punched
the lowest setting. And,
No.
and the whole time, Picard was right there, right behind him, like if his aim was a little bit off.
It's like, now I'm not going to be able to eat again until I get back to the planet.
That's exactly what I was thinking. The Sovereign looks so
I'm
sad.
so hungry.
Pity. That was my favorite Wayun.
Well, I have some saltine crackers in a baggie and some grapes. I guess.
I think Deanna has a fruit roll-up in her purse.
Well, I think we're almost to the point of everything's back to normal.
Yeah.
Maybe? Oh, no, he's got the feelings. He had to shoot her. He's not too happy about it.
Oh, yeah.
He essentially shot an unarmed woman. I gotta be like,
She was armed. She had the means to kill that guy.
Her body was the heart attack.
It was, but it was...
That's so strange that someone just walked up to Picard and handed him a pad just then.
He was probably on his way to the bridge and was like, oh, great, he's in 10 forward. I don't have to go up there now.
Yeah. It's like,
poker
oh, thank
game's
God.
back on. Yeah.
I've got something else to do.
So they're talking about their next mission. He's going to recommend that Riker take some leave. Jolly good old show there, man.
I'm going to extend shore leave on the starbase if anyone wants it.
And I'm going to order you to take it.
Well, Riker's one of those guys where he throws his life into his work if things are going wrong. Like him and his dad.
Right, but also, if you kill somebody in the line of duty in Starfleet, there should be a standard procedure to give you leave anyway.
Right.
Well, there should also be an investigation, just like anything else. It's, if you're not in a declared war thing, it should be like, Starfleet legal has to go and find out if it was a justified shoot.
Oh, brother.
And you look at it, it's like, now, why, and if I'm investigating, be like, why did you, Mr. First Officer, not the security chief, do this?
Where was Worf this whole time, not providing security during these highly
Exactly. It would be like somebody trying to attack the president and Mike Pence coming out with a gun and shooting the guy while the Secret Service stands there going, it's like, now, why did we have the First Officer do this and not, the Klingon security officer who supposedly checked out all these people and made sure nothing was going on do any of this?
So when I watched this episode, I said that I really hated it as a kid. It was a snooze fest. Watching it as an adult, here's what I think. They made an attempt to do a forensic evaluation with some pretty sloppy supposition, which just happened to lead them to the murder. And the murderer was only able to prove their guilt by jumping into a phaser beam while trying to murder someone.
Yeah, if Data hadn't been there to speed read thousands of documents, they never would have figured this out.
Right.
It would have been some lower ensign just doing follow-up review 6 months later going, oh, hey, wait a minute.
That's what that was about.
Yeah.
And what's really strange is that...
So Tommy down here in records found this out.
The murder plot had nothing to do with the B plot. Oh my gosh, there are people raiding our labs and whatnot. We gotta get them under control.
Yeah, that's the thing is Picard is like, well, we have to get these people unified. Now, one mention of, oh, by the way, you kind of owe us for the shit you stole and the people you shot.
And after they killed well, after they killed Uta, they never actually resolved the plot.
It's Utah. It said on the subtitles YUTA.
Yeah, Utah. But they never said, oh, well, welcome back to society. Come on, they just left that hanging. They never resolved it.
I guess when he says, I am in your debt, that means, hey, I'll agree to your deal.
I'll be like, well, you were already in our debt, for stealing our stuff and shooting our people.
It was pretty sloppy writing. For that, I'd probably only give it about maybe 1 or 2 out of 5. But how many heart attacks? Yeah, heart attacks? Microviruses. I give this 1.5 microviruses out of 5, just because the writing was convenient. I think they just needed to get to the end of the episode rather than actually make a story that made sense.
I don't know. I liked seeing Riker get pushed to the point where he had to kill somebody in the line of duty. That was interesting. That could have happened earlier in the episode and have him deal with it as it went along. I don't know that Jonathan Frakes would have had the ability to play that for the whole time. Like, and talk to Troy and talk to Crusher about it. Even though Crusher would have totally been like, no, I was with you when you figured out why you had to kill her, and I wouldn't have advised you to do anything different than what you did. And Troy would have been like, obviously, you feel guilty about this. Something's up. You need to explore that.
That could have actually worked well into like a flashback episode. So you see Riker going through these counseling sessions with Troy, talking about how he murdered this woman, and the flashbacks talk about all the events that led up to it. And where at the beginning of the episode,
they just didn't have that kind of cohesive writing.
No, not yet. They did in the last season.
I like the idea that Riker wouldn't see Troy for counseling. He'd basically see that 80s businessman character from Futurama as a counselor.
Oh, dude, the guy with the yellow tie?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
My only regret is that I have bonitis.
So what kind of score do you give this?
I give it a 2.
2 microviruses.
Yeah, 2 microviruses.
I'd also give this one a 3. It was a pretty generic premise. Just, it's a typical Enterprise gets in the middle of an alien conflict premise, but I thought it was pretty well done for what it was.
Okay, cool. Mr. Matt.
I'm gonna give it a 1.5. Again, it's a typical Picard's playing space cop. It's space law and order is what this was. Is they're investigating one thing and then accidentally solve another crime while they're investigating something else. All you need is basically, like Marissa Hargitay to give that horrified look at the end to the camera. The only good part is you really see how much of a predator that Riker is.
Yes.
In this, and just everything in his whole, demeanor about stuff. So that was the one, I guess, character building thing you could put into it. But the rest of it was just
sleep with, marry, kill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sleep with, marry, kill.
Yeah. Yeah. This was basically like a Hallmark movie of the month.
Doesn't look good for a good commander then.
No, it's just.
So what's our next one? The High Ground?
I believe so.
No, I believe it's the Defector.
Okay, that's right. The Defector.
That's right. The Defector.
Looking forward to some Romulan.
So, if you have something to contribute, please write us at our email address, which is
nextgenfirstgenpod@gmail.com.
And with that, we'd like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and have a wonderful day.
Why am I interviewing you guys?
So you're the guest.
So Sascha, what is Star Trek?
Hi,
Next
I'm the
Generation?
guest.
So Sascha, what is Star Trek Next Generation?
Seek us out at Next Generation's First Generation at iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Music credits include Electric Car by Poddington Bear, Broke for Free, As Colorful as Ever, Glass Android by Lee Rosevere, Old School My School by Cheese and Pot C. Audio engineering by Sascha Shouties. Chief Meme Maker and episode cover credit goes to Matthew Kirshner. Logo and graphic art design credit goes to David Clawwitter. And special thanks to Patrick Delmore for working with other podcasts to make sure the good word gets out.
Do you have a podcast that you think people should be listening to? Send us your promos and we'll play them on the show. If you'd like to email the show, you can email us at nextgenfirstgenpod@gmail.com. I've been Patrick Delmore.
And this is Sascha Shouties. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful day.
Good night.